Welcome to Meet Me at the Deli, a food advice podcast where the pickles and slaw are always free. I'm Liz.
And I'm Jeffrey. Every episode, we're answering your burning food and culinary questions and sharing insights and stories from years working in the industry and living in our self-made shtetl.
Well, Jeffrey, here we are. We have just arrived back on the boat.
Off the ferry.
From Governor's Island for the Great Nosh, the Jewish Food Society, for the second year in a row, I think, is through this big 5,000 person event.
5,000 person picnic.
Picnic, that's right. And I will say that for me, the best part of this day was how many people I got to see. It was really, really nice to connect with people. Interestingly, right when we were on the ferry coming over, we actually saw Clancy Miller, who is an old colleague-ish person in the cookbook world, and she's working on a picnic cookbook. And I remembered that, and it was so nice to talk to her, and we just sort of like ended up walking with her a bit, and like you've never met her before. So shout out Clancy and your picnic cookbook. And she was kind of there like, I'm checking out another picnic, you know what I mean? Which I thought was cool. And we saw so many other people from the Jewish food world. We saw Andy Coe, one of our authorities on bread. We saw Nate Adler from Gertrude's. And what did you say? He just opened another restaurant, Trudy's.
On Court
we saw
Huntington.
Sam Silverman from Bagel Fest. We saw Deborah First, of course, who works for Jewish Food Society, a close friend of ours. I got to see a food demo by Ariel Neer, who used to be the culinary director at Jewish Food Society. Now she's making food on stage. And actually my daughter really was like very enthralled and like watched the whole cooking demo. And I was like, cool, like I love this.
I think with this kind of event and just generally being part of something like the food world and the Jewish food world for so long, I mean, just being in line and bumping into Paul Friedman, who's the leading scholar on restaurants in America and wrote one of my favorite books, The 10 Restaurants That Defined America,
so
or
nice.
I think that's something along those lines. And just like being in a kind of food community, it's nice to kind of have those touch points and to connect with people and to have that all framed around, good food and having, thoughtful, provocative conversations around that food.
Yeah. It's nice to it was also nice that we got to go together and be like, oh, here we are. Like, we've been doing this for a long time. And here are all these people like reaping we're sort of like reaping the rewards of these relationships that we've cultivated for so long through like warmth and connection. And yeah, it was a sort of a good reminder of the bigger picture of what this is part of.
Yeah.
For me. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well,
What's up?
In addition to being out on Governor's Island, on a sunny day out in the open, I had a day before that at the beach out in the sun.
Oh, nice.
And I
have not beached yet.
This is my first like proper beach of this season. And I went to one of my favorite beaches. It's, Brighton Beach down in Brooklyn. It's a lovely
culinary
beach.
capital of the world.
Yeah, wonderful. Little Odessa, as it's known. My father was actually born in the building where the famous Tatiana's
Really?
is.
I didn't know your dad was born there.
He lived there for the first 6 months of his life.
That's so
and
cool.
so whenever I'm there, I actually see the building. It's still there. It was actually the same day as the Mermaid Parade.
Oh my God. It
Coney
just
Island.
occurred to me. That is actually an insane day to go to the beach.
Yes, that's on Coney Island, which is right next to Brighton Beach.
Right, but you're getting some of that runoff.
So everyone's dressed like mermaids and doing the whole thing on the boardwalk.
it's a crazy day.
But it was just like such a special New York kind of experience, and I was just so delighted to have that. So yeah,
I love that. That really is, and I don't do it enough, and I feel like you do it.
Yeah.
Which I love about you.
Yeah, and it's like getting me in the mood and the spirit for July 4th, which is coming up. So
yeah, very nice.
And with that, we should probably, bring on our pal and friend, Adam Chandler, to help us answer some of these kind of more July 4th oriented type questions.
July 4th-y questions coming at you today on the pod. All right. Well, I am so excited that we have a special guest here today, Adam Chandler, a columnist for the Wall Street Journal, a friend of ours, a longtime colleague at the Wall Street Journal. He's writing about the intersection of food, business, culture. Perfect for this podcast. One of my favorite anecdotes about Adam is that his very first job in media was as an intern for Heeb magazine. Can you believe it, folks? Shout out Heeb, circa however many years ago that was. No, let's not date ourselves. But, Adam's first book, Drive Through Dreams, was a pop history of 20th century American life through the rise of the fast food industry. So we've got some awesome questions about fast food coming up in getting ready for July 4th today.
Also, the 99% Perspiration, Adam's most recent book, amazing book as well, all about small business in America I will just say, you have like one of my favorite careers in writing. I feel like at one point you had like the Taco Bell beat for The Atlantic.
I did.
Yes.
Like this is like the
great.
dream beat, and also your Substack, the Crunchwrap, is one of my favorite reads as well.
Thank you.
I will say, so I was a kid who read Fast Food Nation by Eric Schlosser, and I at one point had such contempt to McDonald's. I remember like driving by and I was a kid and like glowering, giving it the finger, like I was so angry. And your book Drive Through Dreams, by the way, like it kind of like healed me, and it was a love letter to America. And it actually made me appreciate what fast food actually is. And so it really was one of the more profound reads I've had. So I'm just like super grateful for you for bringing love into my life.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is really, I feel welcomed. I feel usually uncomfortable with praise, but this is really nice. And obviously, Cafeteria has been a big part of my life. I have bricks of everything bagel butter stacked up in my freezer from leftover from the pandemic. I made a huge amount while everyone was making sourdough. I was like, I'm going to make the butter to go along with it. And
I love that.
So that's been the easiest approach for me. But out of my sort of mass-produced food obsession into actual craft and delicious historical traditional foods. So thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Tip of the iceberg there.
Yeah, well, we were excited because we were kind of coming upon July 4th, thinking about, some of the questions we were kind of getting that like really connected to immigrant food history, which I know you've commented on for various, food shows on television. And we've, there were questions that kind of were really relating to fast food, some of your one of your unique areas of expertise. And so I was just delighted that we've known each other in the writing and food world for so many years. And it was kind of like you were the perfect person to come help us answer some of these questions. So
I'll do my best.
Let's do it.
So no pressure, but better have thoughtful.
Tons of pressure. Yeah.
Could we start with the fast food question? That first one, I thought it would be.
Oh, great.
Let's just dive into that one. I'm happy to kick it off and read it. Right. So here's the question. We'll go a little out of order from what we thought. Why did the Jewish deli never become franchised like major fast food companies like McDonald's or, God forbid, Arby's? Nathan's Famous might be the closest since it's an old school Jewish New York business, but it's not quite a deli. I'm curious to know your thoughts and whether pastrami or corned beef sandwiches at scale would even be good. And this is from Sam in Berkeley. Hey, Sam, thanks for your question. So glad to be bringing on Adam for this fast food question.
Well, Sam.
Take it away. I don't know the answer. I have thoughts.
Well, the actual truth is that it kind of has. We've seen Jewish deli emerge as in sort of smaller forms in American fast food. There's a chain called Schlotzsky's Deli, which is based out of Austin, Texas, and founded by, I think, son and daughter of immigrants, Don and Dolores. It's a really like perfect thing. Actually, I wrote it down somewhere. Oh, yeah. Don and Dolores Disman. And as a Texan, I have to say, this is interesting to me. They founded a deli called Schlotzsky's, which the name is completely fabricated from like the kids, their child's like spelling blocks. But they sell deli food. And there are 300 of them and they're growing. They're owned, I want to say there are 300 of them. So that's a lot. And they do have a Reuben on the menu. And I believe it's a corned beef Reuben. And, or actually, I think it's a pastrami Reuben. So you have the experience of that. But at the heart of that, the issue is craft, right? You really have to put in the time and the work and the effort to make something like pastrami or corned beef. McDonald's in Japan has a pastrami sandwich that is a limited time offering that I think there's a more adventurous kind of eating there that for test markets and other things really drives people to try things they haven't heard of before. And I still think pastrami's on the heart of it, relatively niche, even though in our worlds, and I grew up in Texas, so there is like a real kitsch to some of these things, a real sort of inside baseball part of it. But you'd be surprised. Arby's also has a pastrami sandwich.
I've actually never been to an Arby's.
Yeah.
To an Arby's a couple times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never thought to get the
pastrami. Wait,
it's either a corned beef or pastrami. Don't quote me on. They definitely have a Reuben that's on the full-time menu. It might be a corned beef Reuben, but
on rye bread?
No. I don't think so.
Interesting.
I don't think so. I had it years ago, but they make it, and they are focused on. They promote themselves as being, as having the meats and the craft of the meats. They really do, and it is centrally prepared. Some of them are in store, and they have meat slicers. That's one thing that famously, Rahm Emanuel sliced off part of his middle finger, at an Arby's when he was working there as a teenager.
Wow.
That's how he lost it. And so they actually have meat slicers at these places.
I actually heard it as at a deli, interestingly enough. So there's the conflation. He might
have had a little shame about it being an Arby's. There is collectively a sense, even in this question's like, God forbid an Arby's, but
it says God forbid an Arby's.
It does. So there is a real stigma about the Arby's. Anyway, I could go on about this forever, but that's my feeling. And that's sort of my download, is that it does exist. There are versions of it. Whether they're the best version of it, I don't know.
Well, so it's not as ethnically coded. That's the other thing, right? Like what you're saying is that some of the foods have made it into chain fast food restaurants, but without some of the Jewish story,
exactly,
attached to it. What about Nathan's? Should we talk about Nathan? Is there anything we could say about Nathan's Famous for a second?
Yeah, do you have any Nathan's history?
Nathan's is a great story. Well, we have 4th of July. Obviously, this is, the hot dog eating season. Although I feel like it's been glizzy season for a long time.
I had a hot dog yesterday.
Yeah.
Delicious.
With ketchup?
It's great. Where do we go?
Maybe. Yeah. No, we go ketchup.
Okay.
It was at a barbecue. But yeah.
No.
All right.
Liz is a ketchup on a hot dog.
Come on.
You have to talk about this multiple times.
Yeah.
So
you won't let it go.
Nathan Handwerker is of Nathan's fame. Many books have been written about Nathan Handwerker and his contributions to American culinary life. But he actually stole the idea while he was working at Feltman's, which is also a Coney Island institution. Mm-hmm. And Feltman's sold their hot dogs for 10 cents. He opened one up next door, basically, and sold his for 5. And so he was boosted by the opening of the subway that now goes out to Stillwell. And the hot dog stand was right there, like a mirage. You get off at the end of the train, and there's the hot dog place with 5-cent hot dogs. And of course you eat them. Of course you go. Something else that I think is super interesting about it is he coined the phrase kosher style because he wanted people to feel comfortable eating the hot dogs. At the time, there were hot dogs that were made with proteins that we might find a little dicey here. And horse meat was a big thing. Horse meat was a big thing. So for people to feel comfortable, he had rabbinic supervision kind of wink and smile and come up with the idea of kosher style. And that persists today, not mixing meat and milk, but again, not necessarily having kosher meat, but having something that gives it a sense of separation. And I find that so interesting, and I find that really inventive. And that's kind of what gave, in addition to the price, Nathan's this nice little halo. It was in theory more affordable, or in reality more affordable, and in theory perhaps not quite as dicey of a proposition to eat street meat. And this was around the time of the jungle, Upton Sinclair and all of the sort of theories about, where the meat was coming from. And there were obvious reasons people were avoiding it. Anyway.
Yeah, so
that's my book report.
Feltman's, though, was that the first one to put hot dog on a bun? I was the credited. I mean, I know some of these apocryphal stories, but the idea of a bun first going on a hot dog, and this was he was a Jewish immigrant. He was German.
Yeah.
And then Handwerker Nathan, he was Polish. A Polish Jew?
Yes, you said his name right too, which is great. I was just like Handwerker.
Handwerker.
Yeah. Yes, that's very much the kind of story of it. It is an immigrant food that becomes Americanized in this unique way. In the same way that kind of the hamburger as well also has this, by encasing it in a specialty bun, it takes on this whole new life and this whole new meaning, and it becomes this American icon, even though there's this case to be made that there's Central European kind of history to it.
It goes back to pastrami, which was not a sandwich in Eastern Europe, and then it comes to America and it gets, Americanized, and it's between two pieces of bread. Yeah. It's hot. And that's just not how it was.
It's funny. I think we always talk about pastrami as like the star of the deli, but it's like the hot dog's really the one that took off. I mean, every deli has a hot dog.
Talk about mainstream.
Right.
Talk about really it's almost like it got too famous. It's like the pastrami, just like, it still stays within like the world of deli, whereas hot dogs are on their own plane.
I don't know. I disagree. There are no hot dogs at Arby's, so you may just need to think twice about how that.
So quickly, Have you been to the Nathan's on Coney Island? Like
Of course.
Yeah.
They have like all sorts of things. Like they have like fried frog's legs and other things.
I mean,
I've never seen that. but-
I've gotten a lot of French fries there. That's my go-to is the French fries.
Yeah, I think the one in Coney Island has more on the menu than some of the
Then,
other.
then some,
Right.
I mean, that one is really.
Well, in New
7-year-olds
Jersey,
eat
near
out
me,
there.
there was a chain of these Texas Wiener places, like Texas Wiener 1, Texas Wiener 2,
Wow.
Texas Wiener 3, and we never went to them because they weren't kosher, and we would only go to a kosher style hot dog place. So it is interesting to think about this like quintessential American food having this kind of New York Jewish identity, even in the Detroit area. They have the Coney Island,
Right.
the Conies,
Yeah.
these like that's like their diner, but they're like where you get the hot dogs and like the influence of that across America.
Right.
I mean, that's so wild. I think about this, the question, like this fast food question, and I don't know, like Schlotsky's, if it really is like a fast food, like is it like a McDonald'sified place or is it a deli?
It's
I mean,
somewhere-
300 of them is.
It has the private equity backing and the
Who
scale.
doesn't these days?
I know. It has the private equity backing and the scale that would make you
Heeb
think
Media.
this is fast food. However, yeah, when you go in, it's not it's counter service. You go up and order. There are no servers that come up to you. So there are aspects of it that speak to what you would call quick service. It might be fast casual versus fast food, but the distinctions between those are kind of blurring these days anyway. So from a technical standpoint, it falls somewhere in the middle. But it is interesting just to think of a place that has invested in preparing at scale those kinds of sandwiches. And that's meaningful.
Yeah. It is interesting thinking about, I feel like there's a vegan deli called Ben and Esther's that's opened a number of places in Portland, and I think they've opened in a few other cities. And they're like really trying to create kind of this, fast casual or fast food concept. And then there are, I think about Kenny and Zook's that is, I think, no longer around, but was in Portland, that was trying to kind of open, and they're opening at the airport. You kind of see, whenever I see a deli open at an airport, and like it's kind of the quick version of it, I always feel like I'm like, oh, they're making that attempt. They're trying to kind of get there. For me, it's like it never hits, and it's like the pastrami, no one's hand carving a pastrami at an airport, and you're not, and you're getting these like machine sliced, dry, done in advance, all those things, the care that goes into what makes a deli so good, the good ones. Just even going, I think about Liz and I all, we so many times have been to the Second Avenue Deli, and like it's all those little other things. It's like it's the schmaltzy kasha varnishkas. It's like the waiters coming, and there they actually have nice waiters.
Very nice.
But coming over, there's like the
pickles on the table.
the way that they like pour the broth, the consomme, on the matzo ball soup, and the flair.
Yeah.
And if you strip it all down and you just have like the foods without like the space, the third space, what makes the deli so special?
Right.
Like, what are you actually getting? I mean, and so I am thinking about that. Like, I don't think I'd want the fast foodification of the Jewish deli. I'd rather have fewer of them, but they're really good, than kind of like really crappy, deli, in airports.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally hear you. It's so beautiful. And I also think, what if that's one of the evolutions that the deli could take on, right? Like, we know that the deli is not a sustainable model financially. We know that there's a reason that delis have closed. They don't have, it didn't meet people's dietary needs to the extent that it needed to. And so new delis that are opening are having salads on the menu, and they're having vegetarian things on the menu, and they're having a much smaller menu than they used to have. And so there's this question about like, what is the deli? What has become of the Jewish deli? And I don't need it to become a fast food restaurant, but I just wonder if like that is one branch of the deli trajectory, in that we know that the classic deli of the Second Avenue is a rare breed at this point, right? Like that doesn't exist that many places with that atmosphere. I too only want that, and that's why I live here. Because I want to go there anytime I want,
Like I go to Katz's, for example. I hop in, I just go to the corner, the hot dog section. I go to the Mill Basin Deli. I just go get a hot dog and a knish. And to me, that's fast food too. Like that's like the deli's version. Like that's what they do quickly and they do best.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thanks, Sam from Berkeley. Thanks for the question. Thanks for having us have an excuse to bring Adam on.
Yes. Sam really set us off on a path here.
I know. We could talk about this all day.
Oh my God.
And
all right.
We got another one, and we know about your Texas bona fides, and so we had to bring you into this.
This was the right one for you.
Okay. Question is from Diana from Long Island. I'm a lifelong New Yorker, and my fiance is from Texas. We recently debated the true origins of pastrami. what's the difference between Texas style and New York style pastrami?
Well, to get started on pastrami, I think we owe the universe a primer on pastrami, and I feel like you two have probably a pretty good grasp on its its origins as a misunderstood item that means something different historically than it does in American contexts.
Yeah,
right?
I think that there are some debates around the origin of pastrami. But I know it as like this Turkish pastrama that is dry aged on like under saddles on horseback. And then we owe pastrami here to the Romanian immigrants that brought pastrami from Romania. I always think about the Jewish pastrami that was often eaten in that region. Was often made. It was often served. It was a room temperature cured meat.
And it was goose.
It was goose.
It was goose.
Lamb.
Right.
It was made with local.
It was not necessarily
kosher
beef at all.
ingredients. You had your pork pastrami. The non-Jews in Romania, they enjoyed that. And then you have this intense spicing, the rub. That's what makes it so special. The coriander and the peppercorn rub, various other things mixed in. But those are kind of like, that's the essence of it. And here, and it comes to America. And here in America, we have cheap beef coming over from the Midwest. And we have these Polish immigrants who would take over the German delicatessens, and they create these Jewish delicatessens. And you get this, you're making pastrami, you're making it with the beef, you're serving it suddenly hot, and you're putting it on rye bread on the go, so you can go to your job at the garment factory, and you can take your knish with the leftovers wrapped up in it. And like the pastrami met the moment here.
And it's worth noting that what the Jewish deli is and is this place where pan-Ashkenazi Jewish food could come together. So that's why it made sense that something that was Romanian made sense with Polish Jews who did not necessarily have the same food traditions, but roughly had similar reference points, right? And they're working together in these spaces that have been taken over from the Germans. So there's like it's a polyglot.
Yeah,
sense,
I love that part of the story, in part because while we have this perception of what pastrami perhaps originally was and the original interpretation, and then it has this interaction with American food culture, and that's when it becomes something totally different. And it takes on this whole new meaning, and there are all these different versions of it, leading us to New York versus Texas.
I got to be honest, I actually don't know much about Texas style pastrami. Like, I know about Texas style barbecue,
Sure.
Texas style brisket, but like this is something that's kind of eluded me too. So I was actually very curious to have a Texan Jew living in New York talk about this.
Thank you, Diana from Long Island, and your Texan fiance. So what's interesting to me about this is, to your point, I grew up not knowing much about Texas pastrami. It's only in the last 10 or 15 years of scholarship have people been bringing up Texas style pastrami as some sort of lost to time tradition that speaks to the origins of pastrami, in my experience. And I know there are plenty of people who may have had some kind of interaction with what they'd call Texas style pastrami. I know it is made with brisket in the way that New York is not always made with brisket, rarely made with brisket. Navel gazing Jews here.
Although brisket pastramis and the smoked meat of Montreal.
Montreal is brisket too.
Is a brisket,
right.
Yeah.
So we have a different cut that we're talking about here. And there's this real, sort of dry rub part of the Texas meat culture that means that you're not supposed to have any sauce at all. So my mother makes a mean brisket and she doesn't serve it with sauce, and it would be a insult to her if you were to ask for sauce for the brisket. But if you go to, Rosh Hashanah dinner and there's a Passover brisket, and sometimes it comes with sauce in other parts of the country, in part because that's the norm. So I think that's part of it, is basically how the sort of meat cultures of these two different parts of the country have interacted. But ultimately, it's impossible to define, because pastrami, like we've kind of explained, has all of these interesting origins that contain all of these various interactions and sort of encounters with different cultures assimilating and bringing their own tradition to it. So they both, it sounds like, came up around the same time. They both kind of entered the lexicon as what we know them today around the same time, early 1900s. But I don't know if there's one that says actually with any certainty, I have the bragging right of being the first version of the American pastrami.
So where does one get Texas-style pastrami in Texas?
You can find it at a lot of barbecue places. They do make it, and I think
so at a barbecue place, one of the things you might be pastrami.
yes, it's not quite as prevalent as just straight up brisket or ribs or anything else normal to that experience. But you will find places that do it, and some of it may be from tradition, and some of it may be just understanding that you can be creative with meats, and you can make a pastrami that, you know, has this kind of flavoring and seasoning that is recognizable. It's, you know, in some instances it's kind of first culture, in some instances it's kind of third culture. It's people interacting with, I mean, Houston, you can get really good Cajun barbecue, you can get Vietnamese barbecue, you can get great Korean barbecue, you get all these things that kind of interact with the culture. So I don't know.
And have you eaten this pastrami?
I've had pastrami. I've had Texas barbecue pastrami, never really thinking of it as being something distinct until I realized that there's all this scholarship in the last 10 or 15 years. It's sort of saying, no, there actually is something that was pretty wildly spread across Texas, and not just Central Texas, where you had a real meat culture that still exists today, but you had places like, you know, Galveston and Houston, and then you had Northern Texas, you had Western Texas that had these pastramis on their menus 100 years ago.
It sounds similar just to the general story of how Texas-style brisket like emerged, as opposed to like the brisket preparations we have, you know, like in more, you know, Eastern European Jewish communities in the Northeast.
Right.
Like it's like the pastrami is just one piece of that. But was there a Romanian community? Like
that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, somebody brought that rub. You know what I mean? The same, like it's not. It can't be disconnected.
Yeah, I do think it is. It does have those kinds of roots. The spices that you have are reminiscent of it, the times that I've had it. But I don't know if that's historical or if that is someone who went to New York and said, oh, we should make a version of the brisket here. So fascinating.
An important piece of this question, though, is which one's better?
I knew you were going to go there.
And so, having not had a Texas-style pastrami, I need to know a little bit more about the experience of eating it. Tell me about like how fatty it was, juicy. Like, how were you eating it? Was there bread nearby?
Hand sliced.
Yeah, a little bit about that, and then we need the verdict.
Well, it's a different experience eating pastrami or anything, you know, just with either a slice of white bread and some pickles, maybe, or just straight into your maw.
Yeah.
The way that we do in Texas, the way that people who were here for the World Cup are doing, like, euphorically right now. They're like, I'm in Texas and I'm just stuffing meat into my face. That's all I'm supposed to do here. It's great. There's no filler. There's no interruption, right? It's just like meat face. That experience versus of it being, you know, first of all, brisket pastrami, dry rubbed and with no sauce, versus what you get in New York, which is a lot of ceremony, you know, how it's sliced, whether it's lean or fatty, whether you put mustard on it or not, whether you serve it on rye.
Always fatty, always mustard.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But some people
always rye.
Right. Exactly. That changes the experience of it. And that's, you know, that goes into Montreal too, because for their smoked meat, they have the brisket, and you go to all the different places there that are fantastic. And
I'm hearing a lot of equivocating. I want to know.
Look,
There's
a Texas wolf and a New York wolf inside of me, and it's hard to say one is better than. I think they're different.
Okay.
I do like New York pastrami. I like the ceremony of it. I think that when I'm in Texas, I wouldn't go for pastrami if I'm going for barbecue, and that's really what it comes down to for me.
That makes sense.
Two follow-ups here. One is if you go to the deli, is your pastrami your number one order? Or do you go corned beef or something else?
I usually go pastrami.
Okay.
That's what I'm there for usually.
Second, what are you cooking for July 4th? What is your meat preparation of choice?
I always do burgers. It's just tried and true. Controversially, I serve them on English muffins. I think it's better that way.
Hot take.
I also do Frito pies as someone with Texas roots, but I often do a veggie chili for people who are vegetarians too, because I think that gives you an opportunity to do something that feels decadent without it being your sad impossible burger or whatever the like alternative is. That's a little disappointing. So this gives you a way to do it. So that's usually what I end up doing on the 4th of July, but I'd be curious to hear what everyone else's menus.
Ooh, I haven't thought that far.
Well,
TikTok.
We are actually doing the Queer Soup Night cookbook photo shoot over July 4th weekend because we were like, you know, when we can get like away with like just having a really low key weekend and people leave the city. So we're actually doing a photo shoot that weekend. So I'll be making soup all weekend, but I did go to a great barbecue yesterday at my friend's house, and we did the burgers, we did the dogs, we did beautiful salads and stuff, and it was great. So I like felt satisfied. You know, I felt like I had my like July 4th
Yeah.
weekend
If you
fair.
go
And I hope
to
I have
a-
many more weekends like that.
I'm just thinking, if you go to a 4th of July barbecue and there aren't hamburgers and hot dogs there, are you upset? Are you leaving? Are you disappointed? Do you suspect something's wrong? Is if you have these
I think
things.
people like to do the barbecue chicken. I feel like that's like a thing at a barbecue. Like
No one wants to barbecue.
I don't know. What do people think? I mean, I'm just saying I that's a version of the barbecue that people do. They marinate it.
Yeah.
They
I love
throw
that
it on there.
as a compliment.
You want it too.
Yeah.
You want it as well. Yeah. I will say that I have been grilling a lot. I have a grill now. I have a grill since about a year ago, and I have taken on the grill identity. And I've been grilling like almost every night, like for 3 weeks.
Peaches? Like what?
I've been grilling chicken. I've been grilling turkey burgers. I'm grilling fish. A lot of fish.
Okay.
Yeah, do a lot of fish, veggies, everything. I'm just going nuts.
That's great.
I'll say this. I feel
Loving
like
it.
I don't have a plan for July 4th because I don't have a backyard. I don't have a grill. And so, and like if you try to go to the park and Prospect
Oh,
Park,
no, you're not going to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
this.
one of the complications of city living for me, I don't have a backyard like Liz. I don't have a barbecue, so I have some anxiety around, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What to be cooking.
You know what you got to do, Jeffrey? You got to go to the beach. Then on the way back from the beach, you got to stop at the Mill Basin Kosher Deli.
Yeah.
And you got to get your hot dog and knish. That is what you're going to do. I'm just waiting for the photo on July 4th
Oh
of
my
you
gosh.
doing that. That is totally what you're going to do.
That's so nice. But
Yeah.
as someone who doesn't have almost 4th of July cookout agency, if you were invited to a 4th of July cookout and there were no hot dogs or hamburgers there, are you disappointed?
I'll be honest.
Are you taking back the thing that you bought for everyone to drink and putting it in your bag?
The hamburger with
Giant kombucha's going with me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
hot
right.
dogs are
No
more a
kvass for you.
celebration of American identity for me than hamburgers. So
Okay.
I feel like having a hot dog and no hamburger, I'd be okay. Having a hamburger, no hot dog, I'd be disappointed.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting.
All right.
Interesting.
The hierarchy is set.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Very
Got
nice.
it.
Very nice. I think you have to have both, but that's nice.
Well, we know where you
I'm demanding.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, I think it's time for our
Last question. Last
Oh,
question. Okay,
okay,
right.
okay.
We forgot. Okay.
Okay,
Great question from Jeff in Boston. What do you think about deli sandwiches named after celebrities? Larry David deliciously parodied the concept in an early Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. Shout out Curb Your Enthusiasm. But seriously, is it still a thing? And if it is, will it last or will it die out eventually? Celebrity sandwiches. Let's go.
Jeff, what do you say to Jeff?
well, Jeff, I appreciate this question. I appreciate any question that's a reference to a Larry David
Sure.
project of some kind. I'm actually looking forward to. I haven't yet watched the new Larry David, but there's him and Obama teamed up. There's a whole American History show on
Really?
HBO. Oh yeah,
Oh my
Wow.
God.
you got to keep up with those.
I'm not. I gotta
So,
watch
and this,
that.
I love this episode, by the way, where Larry David. Have you seen this episode?
I've seen this episode.
I
It's
saw
been a
it
long time.
many,
Yeah,
many
yeah.
years ago, so it's not fresh in mind.
I've seen it many times. So basically,
Maybe recap real quick.
it's a great thought, Adam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Quick recap. Larry David finally gets a sandwich at his favorite deli. Finally gets a sandwich.
Mm.
Okay. But he gets a sandwich. It's like sable, whitefish, capers, some red onion,
Mhm.
and it's just like
He doesn't want that sandwich.
He's like,
Sable's good, but
he doesn't.
no, I
want,
get it. I get it.
He doesn't want
It's
the
not what he
sandwich.
wants.
He wants his buddy Ted Danson. He's got
Oh,
like the
I thought it
Ted
was-
Oh, yeah.
Danson.
I thought it was the Richard Lewis. Okay, right. Yeah. Okay.
Turkey, coleslaw.
Mhm.
I Swiss cheese. Maybe I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen
Oh,
it.
you can't get Ted Danson sandwich.
He wants a sexier sandwich.
So
Yeah.
and Ted Danson never goes to the deli. He's always in there with Richard Lewis, with his dad. He's
Oh.
always eating. He's like, I want to eat this sandwich. He goes to Ted Danson. He's like, Ted, come on, can we listen? You never go there. Can we just switch sandwiches? And Ted's like, you know what? Sure, of course. You know what? You go there, of course. Just tell me what the sandwich is, so people I know when they say the Ted Danson. And Larry describes it. He's like, well, there's whitefish, there's sable, and Ted Danson's like, there's two types of fish, like two fish. He's like, and then like Jeff, his manager's like, capers, red onions, and it's just like, and then Ted's like, guys.
He takes it back.
Wow.
Ted Danson.
And it sounds
Oh my
awful.
God,
I can't
that's
do that.
great.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so Larry just,
This is so
and so
good.
he gets
Now I
stuck with the
remember it
salmon, and then
all.
he ends up pissing off the owner. It's a whole thing. A great episode, but all that's to say is like, I kind of love that aspiring to have a place on
Right.
the menu of the of a place where you eat and where you go regularly in a tradition and a cuisine of your heritage, and to
Right.
be honored in that way. It's a beautiful thing. So I love the essence of like what that is. But the reality is, I still see this at like some more old school places. I don't see this at newer places. Although some new places have like fun names, but they're not necessarily just like this celebrity sandwich.
Right,
it's like
right.
a concept, or maybe it's like a Madonna, but it's not really the Madonna sandwich.
Right.
And so I haven't been seeing it as much. I don't know if I'm missing it or craving it. Maybe there's some nostalgia to some of these old things. I know I don't aspire to have a sandwich named after me. It's not something I aspire to.
But if it happens, I mean,
of course, if it happens,
the sable and not two types of fish.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know if it's I do think it is somewhat disappearing, but I also think a lot of these retro things are coming back, and so I can very much start to see this trend emerge.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if you are all seeing this, or you're seeing it kind of continue or die out a little bit.
I haven't paid a lot of attention to the celebrity name sandwiches. What I do know is that if you are going to have a celebrity name sandwich, you better have a picture of the owner with the person on the wall somewhere in that building. Because if it's just named, for Madonna or, someone completely strange for no good reason. Like I like the Brunsons that have been popping up. There's for Jalen Brunson, everyone found out what his bodega order is, and everyone has been honoring him around New York by making the Brunson, which sounds delicious. But
which is just a bacon, egg, and cheese, right?
It is. There's potatoes. There's a hash brown in it and some chipotle mayo. And
on a roll.
On a roll.
Kaiser roll.
On a Kaiser.
Yeah. On a Kaiser roll. But what I think is important. I mean, this is like you're about to go play some basketball. So actually, no, it's on a. I think it might be on a bagel. It's on a bagel. It's on a bagel. I was wrong. So
Jalen Brunson, but.
Yeah,
that's a crazy.
I mean,
that's a crazy sandwich.
That's what
is it a soft blenders type bagel?
No, it's a New York bagel. But then again, he's going to go like play 3 hours of basketball after that. So,
Right.
Anyway, but I do think that's a nice way to honor somebody and to have something that people get excited about. However, you got to have some kind of tangible connection to it somehow. If you're just going to name it after a celebrity and they've never been in and they never come by, I think it's silly. I think it's clout chasing nonsense, if I may.
It's a strong take. I agree. I do love the Brunson sandwiches though, but I like that it's it's actually his order. It's not like it named after him as much as it's like I want the Brunson order, and I kind of like that, and I like the idea of like I kind of like if you go to a bagel shop and you order the Cynthia Nixon and you got like the raisin bagel with the like lox and cream cheese and all that. Like it'd be interesting if you actually take people's orders, less that you're getting them. You're getting a piece of like their identity. And I kind of like that. I want to be like Brunson. I want to have like what Brunson does before a game day. I'm about to play a game.
Yeah.
Give me the Brunson order. I kind of want it to shift a little.
As opposed to like the Brunson.
Give me the Brunson.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Doesn't Mom Donnie have a sandwich? Doesn't he put jalapenos on his egg and cheese? I think that's what it is. Oh. It's not bacon, but he does definitely do. I think it's jalapenos. And I heard that there was an uptick in jalapenos, but I don't think anyone was calling it the Mom Donnie. Just saying.
Stock tip. Buy some stock and
some jalapenos.
Canned jalapenos at the bodega. Okay, one thing I wanted to shout out is that at Russ and Daughters, incredible institution, New York institution, 4th generation owners, Lower East Side, New York, multiple locations at this point, friends of Heeb. They have a sandwich called the Heebster.
Sure.
And it is named after the original iteration of Heeb, which we are now in its renaissance. But I do love that. And that's like, it's fairly contemporary. It's in the last 20 years that sandwich got a name. But I feel like what I see are things more like that. So I see less things named after a celebrity and more things with like a cute, playful name that is like referential in some way. Mm-hmm. I love cocktails, and I feel like whenever I'm ordering a cocktail at a place, and particularly delis that have cocktails or like cool, trendy-ish restaurants that have cocktails, there's always like names, and you're like, I'll take the do-si-do, and then you're like, I feel so dumb saying that,
right.
But it's like it has some reason that it's called that. So I feel like the 2026 version of the celebrity name is like a weird pun. Cocktail name.
You know what I mean? I agree. I've been seeing more names. Have you ever been to Cafe Gratitude on the West Coast?
I have. It's a famous place. I don't think I've actually ever been there.
Do you know about it, Adam?
No.
So there you have to. This is now been around for a long time, but the menu you have to order, and the name of the sandwich is not just blessed. It's I am blessed, and so when you order, you actually have to
state
I am blessed or I am
Sweet.
divine. And it's kind of like
love
a
it.
cool way of like weaving in like these affirmations and ordering.
I can't believe it's on the West Coast. That's really
Bay Area started, and then there's one in LA too. So
okay. All right.
But I like creative sandwich naming. Let's just say.
Yeah.
And one back to LA, I got to appreciate like a place like Langer's, which like owns like the numbered sandwiches, and everyone goes in there and they know what the number 19.
Yeah.
They want the number, yeah.
But
There's something nice about that. Authoritative, you know. Like,
I like a number
too. Sure.
I like a number.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. For next time we all meet, I want us all to think what would be our sandwich.
Oh, gosh.
You know what I mean? Just think about it. It was too much to put you all on the spot for that right now. I wasn't ready,
Right.
but I want you to think about it. Next time we all sit down, have a coffee, have a drink. Let's talk about it.
That sounds great.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you, Adam. This was a lot of fun.
Thank
These
you.
were great questions.
Yeah,
Thanks,
really good
folks.
questions. Make it easy for me.
We just want to remind people to send us your questions, DM us, fill out the form in the show notes, link in bio on our Instagram, Gefilteria Instagram or Heeb Instagram. We love your questions. These are amazing questions, and we're answering them. We're trying to group them together in ways so that our amazing experts can help us out. So,
especially when there's a question about Texas style pastrami, like it's not our area of expertise, but we knew who to call.
yeah. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you. This was so fun.
So fun.
Okay, so Liz, we are at that point.
It's that time.
It's the Kvetch Kvel share portion of our proceedings. We're sliding into the vinyl seats at the deli, so each of us gets the chance to kvel or kvetch about a food we've been thinking about, something that's on our mind, or maybe we brought something that reminded us of the other. So with that, I mean, Liz, you want me to go? Okay.
Hit it.
So I have 2 kvels. So uncharacteristic. So I will say first, mine's kind of a kvel / kvetch here.
So's mine, so I got you.
So one bakery, one of my favorite bakeries in New Jersey, in Morristown, New Jersey, the Artist Baker, after 18 years.
Love that place.
Yeah, after 18 years, they're closing. But the kvel is Andrea Leckberg, who owns it, is like the nicest, most amazing like owner. She actually ran for mayor last year, but everyone loves her in the community of Morristown, New Jersey. And honestly, having a place for 18 years is such an accomplishment. And so, some of it was it was time to renew the lease. These kind of questions that many restaurants have when they come to this point.
Yeah.
And she decided to make the decision to close. But Andrea is someone I've respected for so many years. I got to know her because my mother's office in Morristown, New Jersey, was right across the street. And she's like done stuff for James Beard. She's been a pastry chef at really high-end restaurants in Morristown and beyond. She has indigenous heritage, and she's really explored that through food. And I've just like come to respect her.
Didn't we do something with her
We've
once,
talked about it, but you met her.
Yeah.
But she's just like one of those people in the food world that I respect. And one of the cool things about this bakery was that she had at one point she like said, hey, I'm going to close off a part of it and open and welcome a bike mechanic to like work on bikes in it. And it brought such a cool energy. And then she did a florist, and she kept on like finding out ways to like use a cafe as a springboard for so much more. And so it was more of just like, I wanted to like celebrate like a wonderful bakery like that.
And also just like an entrepreneur, a business leader. That's what it sounds like to me, like a foundational community member who's like flexible and thoughtful about the way that she was able to develop her business. I love that.
Totally. So one of the kvel.
Shout out.
Also unrelated, I have a plant in my bathroom at night.
As you do.
Yeah, it's a night blooming cereus. It's this plant. It's kind of this jungle plant that only once a year does it these buds like come forth, and then does it blossom into this incredible flower only overnight for one single night. And I have had this plant for now 7-8 years, and I've only experienced this once. And it was like I missed you don't always know when it's going to happen. I got home, I missed the beginning of its opening, and I like stood and watched this thing for hours. It was unbelievable. And
what color is it? Like, what does it look like?
It's a green plant. It's kind of this jungle plant, and then it has these like little like a tendril that kind of falls down, but then it has just like these colors, green and orange, but then it kind of turns pink and white, which kind of tells you it's ready to open, and then it opens, and it's just like gorgeous white. It's likely going to happen tonight. And it opens, and then it's incredible when it's full, and then it closes all in the same night, and then it kind of dries out, and then eventually falls off. And I had Last year, I had 4 of these buds that dropped, and all of them didn't make it. None of them made it into a thing. So I have one, and I'm hoping that it's going to happen. Tonight or tomorrow.
Woo!
So I am on pins and needles here, hoping we're going to get it. It is one of those experiences. It's just one small house plant, but it like really made me connect like something so much deeper. I cannot wait for this. I hope it happens.
Jeffrey, first of all, it's super beautiful. I've never really heard you talk about plants before, so it's so nice to hear you talk about that in all these years. I don't think we've had like a plant thing. I also want to say this is maybe the most like millennial in your 40s thing that you could possibly have shared with me. You know, have you been getting those memes where they're like, you're a millennial who's in your 40s, like an old millennial, like, what are you doing? Like, quit drinking, run a marathon, like, have a third accidental kid, like, or like get into gardening, you know, or like plants. Like, it's like, that's one of the things which I love because what it tells me is like, you're like, I'm slowing down, I'm noticing, I'm paying attention to beauty. I'm like, I care about the like world around me. I love it.
Well, and I should tell you, related to that, next weekend I am going on a birding walk with some friends.
That's the other one on the list.
I know.
He's birding everybody.
I
mean, you know, I've been birding. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Let's bird.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, that's what I got.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us for Meet Me at the Deli. Please follow us on Instagram, Gefilteria or Heeb Media. DM us with your questions. We would love to give you our advice. Maybe you'll find it interesting. You can also email us, podcast@gefilteria.com, or fill in the form in these show notes. It's so easy to submit a question. We know you have them, and it doesn't have to just be about a recipe or a food. It could be about etiquette. It could be about culture, anything that's on your mind. Send us your way. This show was produced by Felicia Reich, who we are so grateful brought us seltzers today.
Thank you to Heeb Media, an independent media nonprofit producing original web series, podcasts, and live events that showcase the best of today's subversive Jewish culture. Check out their membership if you want to support independent Jewish media now.
Support it. And tell people about the show.
It's the best way for us to grow and share the clips that are up at the Heeb Media and Gefilteria Instagrams.
So thanks again. Take our answers out into your life and bring us back the leftovers.
This has been a podcast by Heeb Media.